All right, I'm live. I'm live without a camera. And I'll just wait a moment as people find me and join me for this, my first audio update. So say that you are here when you arrive in the chat. I'll just write a little message. Hi, Soulspirations. Hi, Charlotte. No one can see me. I have this icon on my desktop. I have a camera. I have two cameras. Neither of my cameras are cooperating. I tried to open Zoom. Obviously, I'm supposed to be doing an audio. It's just bizarre. Anyway, I just wanted to speak about the energies, and for some reason, neither of my cameras are working. And I have had Zoom working today, but that doesn't want to be cooperating. So it's kind of annoying. Yes, you do know what I look like. All right. So I look just like I look. And I want to say some things to you about the energy. So really interesting that today I really felt, let me check. No, it was yesterday. Yesterday, I really felt all these electrical energies, and it turned out that we were receiving a lot from the sun that was very electrical of nature. There's a lot going on, especially for the masculine aspect. So the masculine aspect of self and the masculine in our world, and you can feel it, you can hear it, hey. I just want you to feel into the emotion of that. So the masculine, God bless them, they are really, going through their stuff, and it's not easy for them. It really isn't. So for those of you who sit in divine feminine form, just be aware of your own internal divine masculine and of those men in your world, in your life, in your family, in your relationships, because they are kind of being torn asunder, really. This energy, first of all, I suppose I should mention, is doing this very deep purification. So it's probably the deepest purification we've ever done. It's also, you could say, the oldest. So I am of the understanding that we are releasing what may have carried over or come up from the depths of our cells, of our soul, in relation to the Lemurian times. So we're in that. We're in the time of embodiment as well. So we're in these new higher frequency energies. We're in ascension energies. And on one level, everybody is being asked to come into fifth dimensional baseline frequency. So for many of you who are here, you will already be having that experience, and I want to say that your work is to be embodying it at a cellular level through all of your, through your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, energetic, and grounding that into the grid lines, grounding that into the planetary ley lines, so that others can access it, because you are, to be the perfect conduit, really, in your purity. Hi, Deb. Yeah, crazy blinking technology stuff. So on the big picture level, we've got things going on in a galactic level, in terms of the galaxy. On a planetary level, in terms of external to the planet, surface of the planet, internal of the planet, and then us, and then all sentient beings on the planet. So we're being affected by this higher level, higher frequency, faster moving molecular spin, which is like, the spin cycle in the washing machine, this deeper purification, but it goes right back. So all of our soul experiences are coming up to be reviewed, to be illumined, to be, I want to say, sort of exercised, but I don't mean that in any kind of big ritualistic way, but removed from. And so there might be many ways that you can do that, and I feel that there's a lot of power just calling in your higher self. So we might do a little bit of work around that in a moment. Interesting that there's this emotional release. The emotional release is bringing a lot of feelings, maybe of tears, of the things that are held that need to be released to come into the higher. So it might be the density. It might be, for the masculine, it might be that they're having these, they're having these huge heart openings, and they can be quite painful, and they can be quite physical, and there's also that they might be experiencing as you in your feminine masculine form, very much in both the front of the heart and the back of the heart, this connection through the higher heart thymus, which links to mission and purpose, and then to the throat, to being able to speak it. And I want to say there's some beauty. There's some beauty in being able to speak that out loud to self. It's like finding words, and this is what the masculine are playing with, I want to say, exploring, some are struggling with, is how do you put words to something that you haven't experienced before? And this, I want to say, is the feminine aspect of coming into this higher realm. It's the same. We're in this higher frequency. It's faster. It's very electric in the last couple of days. So that's why it's having this bigger impact on the masculine aspect as well, because they're very much in the electrical system. But it's enabling this purification back through to that time at the same time as the heart's opening to release the emotions and the feelings of it, the sensory experience of it, and from the gut, and being able to speak it. Thank you, Al. So it's this big emotional release for the masculine, and so for some of them it's going to, I want to say it's kind of scary in that it challenges their masculinity. It challenges all the programming, the masculine aspect of the programming. You're strong, you're the protector, you're the provider, you've got to be the guardian. All of these masculine attributes are being challenged by this coming into the emotional body, and anything that doesn't serve the higher, and anything that is linked to the old. So all of the old programs and systems, this is what each of us are in the collapse of, and the individual collapse of that collapses the systems and structures within our world. So this month, and I feel like in the next 2 weeks in particular, we're going to be in this deep purification. We're going to see a lot more revealing. There's this, that beautiful, beautiful thing that Gaia said a while ago, where the molecular structure of a lie would not be able to hold itself together. We are in that, but in the witnessing of that in the physical. So things that don't align to each of us, things that aren't true for each of us. So that might be the work we do. It might be all of a sudden, like folding your arms and going, well, it's enough. I've had enough of this. What am I going to do? And I want to say, don't get caught up too much in the future of that, but be in the now. This practice of being deeply in the now, deeply grounded, deeply connected to your heart, connected down through to the earth, to Gaia, this feeling, this sensory experience of the new, and like be in the allowance of that showing up things. And you just go with what shows up. Breathe into what shows up. Here's the now moment. Breathe into it, expand it, open, then place into it the feelings that are arising, the experiences that are arising, then ask to be shown what is next here, and then expand that. So there's a lot in my view, and just appreciate, I'm just riffing off the top of my head here, that it's like we are in the undoing of everything that holds us in the old programming on an individual level, and that this is impacting the collapse of the three-dimensional paradigm. And at the same time, we are being enriched, enlivened by these higher frequencies, and at the same time, it's like the earth is unfolding. We're in this turning inside out thing. We've got new coming in the physical. We've got new land arising that's been seen in the physical. I'm not sure exactly where, somewhere in the Atlantic, I think, or the Caribbean, maybe the Caribbean. There's apparently some new land that's come up. But this is what we're going to be seeing in this, the earth releasing its debris. That's going to come through earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, but it's like a rumbling. It's not my perception. It's not my messaging from Gaia that these are going to be massive. It's like lots of rumbling, like a grumbling stomach, really. That's kind of the equivalent of the earth. So it's this really being in your own internal space and doing the work of what arises, but it feels that it's going to be very much connected to what is not your truth, what is not your higher alignment, what is not your purpose. So the inverse is asked to be shown, asked to be guided. Why am I here now? What is it that I'm here to do? And there's this strong point of being in stillness right now. So I want to say, not getting too ahead of ourselves, staying in that space of for the next sort of 10 days anyway, of seeing what comes up that needs to go, asking to be shown what is here that's ready to be looked at, what's arising that needs to be healed, what's arising that needs to be sort of smoothed, sealed, spoken to, and then allow that to go, and then be in the sort of breath of allowing the new to come. On a bigger earth picture, a lot of this relates to the masculine as well. There's this kind of sense of being squeezed. There's a lot of pressure coming on, and it's pressure that cannot be resisted any longer. And so you might be feeling that compression. That's part of this purification. It's part of the revealing self to self. And then we're in this yesterday in this, I have to say, this energy. Yesterday I wrote, this energy today feels beautiful, soft, and yet charged with this electricity. And the song, Let's Do the Time Warp Again, that was the song that was playing in my head from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then today I wrote, I feel full of love and being loved. This flow of this Christos, this Christed, this Christos light is sparking up, firing and activating our crystal cellular body from the molecular structure through to the entire form of the body and of the planet. This engagement or entanglement that is occurring is facilitating this greater activation of humanity. So those of you who are here, I want to say that your initial work is that it's like in the morning, get grounded. In the morning, connect to your own heart. In the morning, attune to the light that's coming from the solar, from the sun, from the Father. and then feel that in your body and ask to be shown what it is that is coming up today for you to be released, to be healed, to be attended to. And then ask, and what is my other work for today? So it feels to me we're in this higher elevated level. We're learning the new languaging. We're feeling into a frequency we haven't felt before. And so it comes with learning the language. It comes with learning the language of association, of giving words to feelings we haven't felt in places we haven't felt them before. But there's this big expansion through the heart. And then there's this coming into, well, I kind of don't want to call it service, because service has a lower, like a lower level frequency to it, but mission, purpose. Why the heck did you come? What did you come for? Why are you here? What are you being pulled to create? And then to be creating, I want to be talking about, this creation basket, this space, this energetic vortex that you are putting into what you want to create. And it may be that it's not yet formulated, but it may be that you get bits of it. And I feel that in the creation of what comes, the reason that you might be putting it in piece by piece is because, I don't know who wrote that. Who did write that song, Piece by Piece? Because we're moving into the new. So, for example, we're going to be working much more collaboratively. We're going to be working for this new way of being. We're going to be in the creation of new systems and structures, but they require higher thought. They require higher attunement. And I feel that we shouldn't get caught up in the finished result, in the final product, but be engaged in the process of how it might feel, of what it might bring to humanity, to the planet. And it may be that you begin to get like a focus point. So you might begin to think, I feel that my work is going to be more about humanity, or I feel that my work is going to be more about the children, or about the small animals, or about the ancient forest, or about the health centres, or about the means of travel, or about education. And it feels to me that we're like returning to the Atlantean times, but it's better. So it's that kind of dimensional level, but it's better. It's not going to be tainted. We're not going to get caught up in the power mongering. Yeah. So I think that that's the gist of it. And yeah, I do want to say, take note of nature, because nature is, do you remember that beautiful word that Gaia gave ages ago of enlivenment? That is what we're seeing in nature. And this enlivenment, it's like when you see starlight or sunlight sparkling on an ocean surface. That's what everything is beginning to look like. The foliage, the trees, the everything in nature. So just begin to be aware of that. Also during this time, the children will be beginning to see more through their clairvoyance. Many people will have clairvoyance coming on board, and then telepathy. So those centers in our bodies, front and rear, will be coming more online, and the children will, well, probably many of you will, so I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I feel it's time for the children to be stepping in, bringing through the messages in relation to the elementals. So they'll be seeing the fairies and having more conversations with the trees and the plants, etc. Yeah. So I want to invite you to just place your hands on your heart and to take some breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And while you're doing that, invite the energy that's sitting above your crown chakra to move on down through your head, through your throat, down into your higher heart, into your thymus, into that region that sits above the heart chakra, to the higher heart. And visualize this sort of streaming connection between the crown chakra energy and the heart energy. That's a big focus. And I want to invite you to feel into your heart for the musical note that attunes to you. You might hear it, you might see it. You might see an instrument. I feel like everyone's getting an upgraded, harmonious note. As though each of us now becoming the individual instrument in the orchestra. It's quite a beautiful metaphor. And visualize this note and the resonance of this note resounding out from your heart and higher heart region, connecting to the other instruments in the choir, in the orchestra, that are part of your triangulation, I want to say. So I'm not sure if I've spoken about this, but there is this notion that was given to me a long time ago that as we come into partnerships, we'll also come into triangulations. And so each of us may have a divine counterpart that is connected to us in this triangulation, and then another being that is connected in there. And then each of those will have two more connections. So this is the grid, the new grid, really. The new grid for the earth. It looks like that. It's made up of triangulations, and so each of us has three connections from that point. One to our partner, and then one to two other things. And those will relate to your soul groups. They will relate to your soul work. So we've got that happening. We've got this higher technology that will be released soon. So I was thinking about a lot of things actually, but let me speak to a couple of them. So I was thinking about the DNA, for example. So our DNA is being activated. It links into this higher dimensional shift. It links into the crystalline as well, and it links into 12 strands of DNA. So as we lift and elevate, more and more of those strandings will be like I get like I want to use the language of smoothed and soothed, so healed and reconnected. So smoothed and soothed and healed and sealed, and that enables our work to sort of drop in more. And it may be that I want to say don't get too caught up in the nuance of the work until we've more landed, because we are still very much in that liminal space, the space between spaces. And a lot of you will be, if you think about a movement of left to right across a rope or across a chasm, a lot of you will be doing that. You're threading the higher dimensional energetics into the lower as you're collapsing the lower. You're providing the bridge, you're being the bridge, you're creating the bridge, and you are the bridge. All of that is what like the sort of leading edge of awakened beings are doing. And then, as so it's like when we get to fifth dimensional base level, everybody, everything, then we can quickly elevate up to, 11, 12, 13th, 15th. I believe, I can't really have proof of this, but it's like we can get to the 12th and then we can tip into the 13th, and then we're in another whole structure, I would say. Anyway, so that's the DNA. And then it's like, as you are in this elevation, you are, like the beautiful visual metaphor about being the ink on wet blotting paper. So I do not believe that you have to go out and heal anybody. You don't have to go out and help anybody. You become the biggest version of who you are, and your energetic illumination, your energetic eminence, your energetic frequency impacts those around you as they will get drawn higher into that other way. Polyamory, well, I don't think so, Debbie. I don't think it's that. That doesn't feel right to me. But what do I want to say about that? I mean, I don't want to make a judgment about that, but that's not my interpretation. It's not polyamory. It's about partnership, two partners, but it's the triangulation of the work. That's what the triangulation is not so much about intimate relationship. It's about the triangulation of the higher level work. That for some reason triangulation shows up. So if you think about the triangle, it's the strongest geometry of structure. So there's that aspect, but it's also that, you might be in a triangle with two others where you're bringing in a new frequency for healing the left-right brain connections. And then you might be somewhere else where you are with a group of people who are bringing through the healing energy for horses. And then there might be that there's some other work. It feels to me like it's like that. It's the triangle is this thing about people having sort of three legs to what they're doing and the structure being strong. And so from my personal understanding, viewpoint, and what I've been shown is that we are in these masculine, feminine, divine partnerships, which doesn't exclude others at all, because there's definitely room for the plethora of ways in which those connections can be made, explored, and foundationally put in. But I don't, it doesn't show up to me as a polyamory. Right. Anyone got any other questions? Or are there questions that I've missed? What my soy? Okay. So that might be it. I want to say that there's this moment right now for everyone to be really focused on self. So if you're in a divine counterpart connection, it shows up quite clearly to me right now. Like we've had this dimensional jump, and it's like everyone has to claim themselves. come into their own higher alignment to then come into that higher alignment of partnership. And yeah, so my technology thing has been interesting, I can tell you. So I have discovered that a Chinese company has stolen, it would seem, my name, my domain name. So I now have no SEO. So I can't tell you exactly what SEO stands for, but it means my presence on the net. And so I had like a fairly extensive SEO. So I'm starting again. So my new website address is now sharonmartin.co.nz. So if you are looking for me, that's where I am, but it's it's a bit brand new, and I have got to go into the layers of everything and change everything. And then I've had this, so that's been my little technological hack. So it's meant somehow my booking sheet, you can book, but it doesn't necessarily ask you to pay. So that's just an extra step that I have to go back in and sort that. And some of the layers through the automatic send outs are incorrect. So if you notice anything, let me know on Messenger, but I'll try and get to the bottom of that. And yeah, this thing with the camera is strange, and it didn't let me access Zoom either, and yet I did that earlier today. So there's that. Yeah, if I've gone around in circles, I apologise. But I do send you so much love. It's, yeah, come and fall into my heart. It's really beautiful, really beautiful. And this is the experience that we are all going to be having now. And I don't necessarily think that I have it first, but by any stretch of the imagination, but this is the experience that I've been shown. So the other thing is, if you've been feeling really emotional, we've had some quite emotional energies. And the masculine showing up as, and with that challenge of, so I can give you an example. So someone who I spoke to in the last couple of days, and he is saying he just doesn't, it's not that he doesn't want to do anything, he just doesn't want to do what he's been doing. And he's got no desire to be like running with anything that's focused on money. He really is, well, he's been having pain in his heart, but his whole thing is feeling quite disassociated, if you like, from the world, because it's so dissatisfying. It's so disappointing, really. And he is beginning to kind of catch glimpses, but he's getting frustrated because he hasn't seen enough of it to know what to do. And so I've been speaking to him about like dropping into presence and just seeing what comes next. Be in the feeling of it. And if you get guidance to do something, feel into it. Does that feel right? Is this the right time to do it? Because the masculine energy, of course, is direct, and it's very forthcoming, and it can push through the edges and make things happen. And I believe they still will be doing that, but they're doing it from a higher frequency with a humanitarian focus. And so it's just a slight shift. But yeah, it fills my heart to be I want to say the lucky observer, because that's how I feel. I feel so privileged. So a lot of men have been, coming for sessions, and a lot of men have been in that internal inquiry. So that's happening. Two other things that are happening is that Rebecca Gambles and I are, taking this trip to Bimini in September. And so if you go, so I will put that on my website when it's up and running properly, but that is this whole focus on sacred union and looking at the balancing of one's own inner and inner masculine and feminine to come into balance in preparation for this higher level awareness activation of partnership in the higher dimensional space, which we are tipping into. And then Nicola Gibbons is running a late afternoon workshop in Orewa. If you live in Auckland and you want to come, I'm doing a session in the middle of that. So if you, I'll put a link in somewhere, but she is called Lemuria Rising. So if you look up that, and I'll put them in the links if I'm able to do that on here. But that is happening this weekend, and then this trip to Bimini is happening in September. So keep a lookout for those things. I want to say to you that if you don't already, and I know that many of you do, it's really time to be making your decisions based on what turns you on, what lights you up, what excites you, what ignites you, because that is what will take you to the higher. So be in the feeling of that. And I just, hello, there's a message in here from Starbuck. Hi Sharon, DM here, have been stepping into incredible alignment with self in new and often daunting ways as it plays out in my physical reality, trusting the flow of energies and the unknown. Well, that is perfect and beautiful advice, and thank you so much for sharing. Lovely. So these are our beautiful masculine. They really are incredible, and I want to say that I want us, anyway, to hold space for that, I have this huge love for holding space for the divine masculine, and I've been given some really lovely feedback about that lately, about how I don't ever make any disparaging comments about the masculine, and I know that the people you hear are the same, and I just would invite us to create that as an energetic, because some conversation I had with someone today actually, and I was saying to them, well, it's my understanding that at this time the feminine are like leading the way. So the feminine cut the path, they lay down the track for the new, but the masculine actually build it. So the feminine might be creating the constructs, but the masculine actually build it. Neither can happen without the other. They are integral energetics, integral connections, partnerships for the whole story. And so there's been a little bit that I've seen that to me has felt a little bit egoic, written by some divine feminines, and they're perfectly allowed to do that. But my disagreement with it is that this is not a hierarchy. So the masculine are collapsing the matrix. We've been talking about that for ages. But that they also, it's like the feminine bring in the creation energies, but the masculine build it. But the masculine are collapsing the matrix as they leave it. So they are exploring what doesn't feel in alignment. And as they are like reaching for the new, they're collapsing the old. And that's happening in their internal structure. And that's happening in the divine feminine's internal masculine structure as well. and this is how the old collapses, and then it's like the new can arise, bubble up, find itself in a new format with a new frequency. But we're right in the midst of all of that. It's so exciting, and I believe that the secret sauce is this being in present moment. So right now in this moment, right now, and what next? Oh, that. Okay, do that. Yeah, and trust. That's a big thing, isn't it? We each have to trust our own internal guidance. We each have to trust where we're sent. And sometimes it's not like go and jump off a cliff, but it's a bit like, I don't know where this is taking me. So that is part of our learning to be in flow and trust of self, trusting the soul self to give direction, but do it through the feeling of the body. So for me, that means in general, it won't be 100% for everybody, but in general, that means those who are working predominantly with the feminine energy, the feminine form, will be doing that from their hearts. And those who are working with the masculine form or the predominant masculine energy will be doing that from their gut. So to me, that's where the masculine hold their intuition in their gut. Yeah. So follow your own way. And yeah, interesting, this whole thing about the way has come up in relation to the dolphin trip. So I wrote something about that yesterday, which I'll read it to you, because feel into the energy of this, because it's really powerful. This is to do with the Bahamas. This is what Gaia gave me a couple of days ago. Oh, actually, yes, a couple of days ago. She said this trip to the Bahamas is linked to a journey to the stars that has already occurred to collect the codes from the Lemurian times related to harmonizing and balancing the way in which divine feminine and masculine open the way for the Atlantean codes of relationship to be healed, balanced, and grounded into the new earth. So I know that's my specific instruction from Gaia as to what I am doing there, why I am sent there, is that I am in co-creation with Gaia, let's say. Pulling down, that's how it feels. It's like pulling down this field of plasmic light energy that's related to the Emerald Order, Emerald Codes, Emerald Tablets, the eighth dimension, the Atlantean codes of relationship, and to anchor it in to there so that we can all access it. And then this reigniting of the way, that came, the way. And when I asked, and that's to do with relationships and partnerships, but first requires the healing and balancing of one's internal body. So that's the work that we're doing on this dolphin trip. And the primary is well-being, growth, enlightenment, balance, and harmony. And it's the conversation, Gaia was saying, that's the work that shows up in it is the conversation, the unfurling, and the healing into balance. I'll read you this. We are currently in the deepest level of purification, down to the finest grains of sand being washed from the shell so that radiance can shine through. Yeah, so picture this, the cellular illumination of the physical cells. Be with what is, attend to what shows up, do the work, enter your own internal space, observe what arises, heal, purify, and make peace with self. I'll read this last bit. There is work to be done around collecting the Lemurian codes from the stars, the Syrian, and integrating them with the Atlantean codes for the restoration of higher relationship codes to reinstate. Sorry, that's just right through my body. To reinstate the higher way on Gaia, to return to being the guardians of the living library of the universe. Okay, dear Ball. She feels everything is merging. It's a weird feeling. Yeah, that's a good explanation as well. It is like that. So there's this notion that we are each merging the higher aspect of self into the body. So that is our embodiment. And I believe likely from the 12th dimensional space downwards, as though it's sliding down, compacting, coming into the physical form. And then we are also doing this purification back through time, space, and dimension. And we are collecting our gifts that we require for this next part. And so a lot of people are going to be coming into their psychic vision, eye upgrades, a lot of energy in the pineal gland, a lot of energy around what I call the hat band. So that hat band is related to psychic vision. And then this reorientation of the eyes. So you can kind of think fly eyes, you know how they're fractalized. It's not necessarily that we are going to have that, but some of those kind of vision things are going to come on. I don't know when, but I have been shown this whole thing about how, you know, our eyes, we might be able to operate our eyes separately. We might have like a longer lens focus in one, a wide angle lens in one. We might be able to be running. It's a weird construct, but I've been shown how one eye might be like running the reel of what's happened in this day for review at the same time as your eyes are watching other things. And then this merging in through from behind. So all the lifetimes from behind, they are coming in through the back, through the rear, through the spine, and through the, like across the back of the hips, I want to say. So you might be feeling a lot of back pain with that. And then this Christos light definitely coming up through the spinal fluid. So a lot of layers of things. So just, you know, be tuning to yourself each day and asking for your own inner guidance and start to trust it. Like, take the risk. Don't go jumping off a cliff, but you know, if it says don't go to work today, go and do this, trust it. If it says stay in bed this morning, feel the energies, lie flat, feel these energies coming in through your feet. A lot of the energies are also coming in through the feet. There's something kind of, I haven't tuned into all of it yet, but there's something kind of special happening with the feet. So the feet, they're kind of heating up. They are, I want to say, maybe feeling a bit swollen, a bit flabby in the, not all through the feet, but like the bottom part of the feet. There's this collection of codes. There's this activation of the, well, I want to say like the, I don't even really know what to call it, but think about the consciousness of the dirt. It kind of relates to that. It's like as you walk, you're activating. As you walk, you're lifting. As you walk, you are integrating. Soulspiration saying, yes, feet sensations, swollen, vibrating, especially after barefoot on the grass. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so all of these incredible things that are happening. Yeah. And I will look forward. Hi, Holly Star. I will look forward to seeing you here again soon. But in the meantime, fall in love with yourself and sit there. Good night.